Hello, everybody. Welcome or welcome back. My name is Monique, and I'm on a financial health journey to create an inheritance for the generations to come. I want to do that through consistency and discipline. Today, we are here to do a paycheck budget closeout for the paycheck period of February the 9th through February the 22nd. Today is Friday, February 23rd. I got paid today. Yay. And all of my bills have cleared. Plus, I've already reconciled my variable expenses as well. So this was a great time for us to go ahead and handle the paycheck budget closeout. I'm not sure the order that you'll see the videos. I'm going to try and post this probably after the savings challenges are done. So I'm going to try and keep that in mind while I'm talking through this particular video. I'd like to thank everybody who's liked or commented on any of my videos, and especially those that have chosen to subscribe to my channel. So I truly started this as a way to hold myself accountable, but I understand, recognize, and appreciate the community as a whole. We all have similar journeys. We all have similar goals around finances, but we have different journeys on how we plan on getting there. So if you're rocking with me on my journey, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't made up your mind, sit with me for a spell. Watch this video, and at the end of the video, if you like the content that you're seeing, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Okay, we will go ahead and get started. I will very quickly, I've already done March, so I got to make sure I'm pulling out the right one. So I will just very quickly say that this is the paycheck period of February 9th through the 22nd. That's what you see outlined in blue with this washi tape. So those are all of the things that I had to consider, not just the bills, but also anything from a life perspective that was going to happen. And so that is the paycheck period that we're talking about. I've checked off all of the bills. Those have all cleared. So this is a great time for me to go and do the paycheck budget closeout. We'll look at this one more time while I'm reconciling the end of February and moving into March and talking through the March calendar. We'll look at it one more time, and then we will put this baby to rest, and it'll be done, and we'll be moving on. Oops, excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. So we are going to go ahead and scroll in a little bit more here so that we can bring up the information and you guys can see. So let's talk about it. All right. From an actual standpoint, as far as income was concerned. So first, let me just say, as Yoda would say it, the wagon fell off it, I did. So I have spent some money during this particular paycheck period, more money than I typically have spent before. Some of it was for very good reason. Some of it was for a selfish reason. But with that said, I have made some adjustments as well. And I now have an unplanned category for money that I spend out of my bills buffer that is not planned, but it is still money that I needed to account for. So I did mention a few videos ago, I don't remember which one, that I did have somewhat of a bills buffer in there, probably $250 to $300 of money sitting in the bills buffer account that I just had there for the just in case. And yes, the just in case happened. All right, so we will talk about that now. Let's go into the income sources. So for the bills account, I had $1175 go into that account. $500 go into the variable expense account. Right here, you'll notice, and it's I don't know if you can read the print itself, but where I did not plan for any rollover to be used, I did end up using $225 of my rollover, or the money that I had in my bills buffer as or my bills account as a buffer. This is just basic 225 that I said, okay, let me just write down a number here. So it's not specific, meaning I didn't add up all of my unplanned expenses, come up with the number of 225 and then put it there. I just said, let me say I'm going to use about $225 worth of that bills buffer that I had available. Okay. Kim gave me $150. You'll notice here in gray. So as I save money for my variable expenses week to week, I take that money, half of it or a part of it, I use towards my cash rollover envelopes that I have in my wallet now. And then the other half, or the other portion, I use for rollover and savings. If I used it for rollover and savings, it's notated here in black because that money is going to be accounted for within this budget, meaning those numbers are not only going to be documented here, but I'm using it in the next paycheck period. So this $75 rolled over, the 20 and the 55, 20 say from week 1, 55 say from week 2. That went towards my buffer account. And I'm trying to make sure that I got this right. Not buffer account. I knew I was going to say something wrong. But that money went as rollover, and it went to my next week's or next paycheck period, the paycheck period that started on today, February 23rd, towards cash savings and sinking funds. I had to get it right in my mind. It's a lot of numbers, and I know you guys understand what I mean when I say it's just a lot of numbers and there's a lot of moving parts. But what you see in gray is any monies that were going to be in my envelope, in my wallet. And the reason why I grayed it out here, I'm not sending that money over to cash savings, to savings or sinking funds. You're not going to see that money anymore. I put it in my wallet, and when I spend it, I spend it. I do not document those expenses or track those expenses. It's been tracked one time here within the variable expense budget, and then after that it is tracked no more. Okay, so Monique does not keep track of how she spends the rollover that's in her wallet. She does keep track of having any initial money left over from each of the variable expenses, and she does track the money that is rolled over and will be used as a part of savings challenges or sinking funds in the next paycheck period. So that's the way that we marked it out. Now, the reason that I gray it out is because I got to remember not to include it in this total amount here. Remember, once it hits my wallet, it's gone away. You don't see it anymore. It's Casper. Okay, it's the Casper cash rollover. You don't see it anymore. So that's why I have it grayed out. I'm not going to count it in my income source, but I do need to make sure I know that I roll that money into my wallet itself. All right, so 1175 plus 500, 225, 150, 20, and 55 equals $2,125. Now, remember, anything in red is good. I'm sorry, anything green is good, anything red is bad. So we're going to take this number. We're going to put it in green because it's income and it's higher than what I expected. $2,125. All right, there you go. Next, we'll talk about living expenses, and this is really more of my bills and my variable expenses that we're talking about here. So we'll start up here. Before the money reaches my bills account, I've already accounted for tithes, pet and car insurance, and in this case, mortgage. I didn't have any money that I was putting towards that. At one time, I was a month ahead when it came to my mortgage, and now I'm not, just because of the way bills fell and the way that life happened. And so I want to work towards getting back to that point. My hope was that my bills buffer amount would have been the catalyst for, or the starting point for having that mortgage buffer, or half of the mortgage payment available. And that way I could save and kind of get 1 month ahead. It didn't work that way. It did not work out that way this month, but I'll try it again another month. There you go. All right. So for Verizon, I had 165 expected or budgeted. I spent 164. So I was $1 under budget. Ally and Discover, the dates that they are due was during this particular paycheck period, but I already paid them in the previous paycheck that I received towards the end of January, and that's why they're still documented here, but you have dashes there. All right, most things came in just as expected. AT&T was $1 higher now, I am seeing. So I'm gonna circle that and let's turn that red. Let's be accountable. All right. Water came out, trash came out, Bridgecrest was good, Green Sky was good. Kohl's did come out under budget, so it was $4 under budget on that one. Xerxes Groom, so Xerxes Groomer could not see him because she ended up sick. And so let me turn that green because that's $25 I did not have to spend. Now, the way that this particular form is, I'm using all of these fields, but there are two different sections. The first section is the bills. The second section is the actual variable expenses. That's why you see some highlighting going on here, just because it helps me to keep track of exactly which categories I'm talking about on this particular in this particular section. So we're going to first tally up the bills and see where we are. So that was 164, 491, 25, 54, 503. We've got 90, 86, and that's it. Okay, $1,017. So that's less than what I initially thought, which is great. So we're gonna put that in green too. All right. I'm gonna tally up this whole section here together. So just bear with me for a minute. All right, week 1, I allotted myself $280. I spent $209. That was green. That should be in green. Did I mean to circle it? I think I did mean to circle it, but I didn't mean to circle it in the color. So let's circle that, and let's change that color to green. I had a feeling it was going to change the highlight. That's fine too. So that was $209. It's not going to be fine. It's going to bother me. There's not much that bothers me, but that little green on there bothers me. So let me take the color off of those two things. All right, so $209 is actually what I spent. So I was under budget by $71. And over here you see here where I say variable rollover week 1, $70 was what I saved. Now I know it said 71 as the total, and that this shows 70. The other dollar is in change, and that change is in here, but I don't count it because I'm not rolling that over at all. Okay. Next, I gave myself $320, and for week 2 of my variable expenses, I spent $269. So again, we're going to circle that. We're going to mark that as green. Alrighty, and so 320 minus 269 is $51. All right, when I checked my variable rollover week 2, I'm marking out $51, and I need to change that because it was actually $49. So there was actually $49 in cash that I had left over, and I need to change this color back to black. So it was actually $49 in cash itself, dollar bills, and $2 was in change. And so the change is over there. The reason why I have to be careful about the amounts that I roll over or that I state here is because this $70 and $49 is exactly what I took to then fund savings challenges and sinking funds for the next paycheck period. So I did not want to write here 71 and 51 knowing that it was going to be $3 short when I actually counted it out. So I need to make sure that I allotted for or counted for that there. Now, it's going to be it might be a little bit off because that $3 needs to be accounted for somewhere. So that my numbers might be a little bit off, but $3 is not a lot, so I'm okay with that. All right, let's see here. 209 plus 269 equals $478. So I'm going to take that 478, just like over here. I took to 280 to 320. I added it to 1046, and I came up with 1646 total for this section. So I'm going to do the same thing here. 269 plus 209 is 478. Let's go ahead and add 1017. And that equals $14.95. And again, that should be in green because I did not spend as much as I thought. All right, great. Next, here is the money as far as my savings are concerned. Sorry, y'all, I was stuck because I was just trying to account for the numbers. Here's the money that I have allotted as far as my savings is concerned. So when you look at this information, what I expected was to take $25 and have it towards my family binder, and that was it on this side for my general savings account. Now that's not sinking funds. Sinking funds are down here. That is just for savings. And basically where that 25 came from is that Kim gave me $150. I broke that $150 up into 125 for sinking funds, and then 25 for my family binder. 125 and 25 equals 150, and that's accounted for here with that 150 from Kim. Next, the $75 over here is accounted for over here. Okay, so the other 75 came out here. Remember, and I'm going to highlight it really quick just to make sure you know. Remember that 25 we've already accounted for, okay? So if you take that 25 out, I have 40 that I contributed towards my 2024 savings binder. 25 I contributed towards my low income savings book. And then another $10 that I contributed towards pay date savings and B-Bucks. All right, and so you add all of that together, 40 plus 25 plus 9 plus 1, 40. 25, 9, 1 equals $75. And that $75 is the rollover. The rollover savings and sinking funds, 20 plus 55 equals 75. So I'm just showing you how I'm having to track it to make sure I know truly where every dollar is going. So there you go. Those are the numbers there. All right, let me get rid of the pink again, because that's going to drive me crazy. All right, so I expected to give myself $25 towards savings. I actually was able to give myself $100 towards savings. So that's a good news story because savings is always good. So we're going to color that green. I got a lot of greens going on, not a lot of reds yet. All right, here you go. So for bills and subscriptions, this is actually my sinking funds area. I had $125 I wanted to allot towards my sinking funds. That's exactly what I did, the 125. All right, and then here we go to the new section that I have. So we just talked about the envelope rollover, the $70 that's in my wallet. It's Casper. Not worried about that anymore. The $70 and the $49 that I spent or that I saved from over here. 70 and the 49. All right. So those are accounted for over here because again, although I spent less, that was still money that's not available in my account anymore. That money is now in my savings binders and everything else. So I needed to make sure I'm not looking for this money in my bills account because that's not where it's going to be. All right. So I documented here. Let's still take all of that out, the 70 and the 49. And then here's my unplanned. And so let's talk about it really quick. Yeah. First, express oil change. I needed to get my oil change. I did not want to use my car maintenance money or sinking fund because I have a feeling I'm going to need to get brakes done real soon. So I'm trying to save up as much as I can. So I decided to cash flow that. I did not have a any coupons for it, right? So I ended up having to pay for that. All right, the full amount for that. And then mom, $100. So my mom's electric bill came in and it was ridiculous. My mother's electric bill was almost $800. She lives in a small 3-bedroom home, very modest. She does have rooms that she added on at some point. I think that that's the problem. I think the systems are working really hard to try and heat or cool those those room additions. So we're trying to work through something on those, like get some doors, like what do you call them? I'm doing my hands like this, they're not called accordion doors. I'm not sure what they're called, but get some ways to block off those rooms at certain times so that maybe that would help. But at any rate, her bill was $800. Now it's myself, my sister, and my brother. And we wanted to, she's a very proud woman, but she knew she needed a little bit of help with this. So we're just contributing a little bit to help get that more back in line where it needs to be. I do think that those extra rooms are a problem. I also believe the company that bought out the previous electric company, there's no other options, no other resources, and they're just price gouging. I know they are. I'm not going to call their name. I don't want no trouble. But I did give her $100 to help with her electric bill, and I wish I could have given her more. It's just having a reduction I'm seeing in my paycheck as well is just causing a little bit of a struggle with that. So there you go. Corinne, my daughter, moved to Spotify instead of Apple Music. That was due on the 19th now, as opposed to the 27th when Apple Music was due. So that moved up into a different paycheck period, into this paycheck period. So that was unplanned, but that fee has been covered. And then I added iCloud storage as well. And so that is the extra $1 that you see here. So I have an iCloud storage for 99 cents, and that was it. The only other thing that I just mentioned to you earlier that I do want to make sure I document here is my coin savings. So remember earlier I told you I actually saved $71. 70 was in cash, $1 was in coins. I actually saved $51 here. 49 was in cash, $2 was in change. So I need to account for that extra $3 here for the coin savings, just to make sure my numbers are more aligned. I'm gonna leave that black. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I would say a good thing because it's money I wasn't expecting, but it's money that I have. So there you go. Now I need to add up this section. So I had just 125 here. Whew. All right, so we have 125 plus. Not going to worry about that 70. It's in gray. Let's do this 70, 49, 94, 100, 11, 1, 3. It's $453. And that there sucker needs to be in red. No, it doesn't, because I'm gonna leave it black. Just because this part is good news, this part is bad news, but it's still more than what I planned. And some of this is unspent. I'm just gonna color it red. I shouldn't have started all this green and red now that I think about it. And I'm gonna color this green because this was a good thing. This wasn't a bad thing. And I'm gonna color this green just because I want to see more green than red, because this is a good thing and not a bad thing. All right, so now we need to add up all of these different sections and see where we are. So my actuals, my income was $21.25. Savings was $100. Expenses was $14.95. And it says subscriptions, but that's not what it is. $4.53. All right, you guys. All right, let's see where we at, honey. 21.25 minus 100 minus 14.95 minus 453 equals $77. Now, what I did not document here, and that's good because that's green. So even with all of the unplanned and everything else, I'm okay. All right, I don't have $77 in the bank account. I have a little bit of buffer, but I don't have $77. And I'm gonna do it one more time just to be sure I'm okay. Minus 100 minus 14.95 minus 453. Yeah, so I don't have the $77. Remember, I took this 29, I actually moved it to $30. So on a previous video, and if I get a chance, I will link it in the cards over here, where I talked about taking what I expected as this buffer, or that was going to be left over, and I rolled it into the paycheck period for February 23rd. So that budget with me there documents $30 as rollover in that particular video. So that $30 is gone, took it out in cash, used that to help with my cash savings. So technically, I have $47 or roughly $50 left in that account. And that's what that feels more like what's available in my bills account. So I am not at a zero-based budget, but I am pretty close to that in the sense of I know where the extra money went from this $77, because it's not 77, it's more like 50. Remember, I told you I already had $300 in my bills account. So there's a little bit of buffer in there as well. So I thought I had $300. I pulled $225 to help with as far as these unplanned expenses. And then with what I actually have left over here, I have about a little over $100 that's actually left. So this is aligning really, really well. Going forward, I will keep my unplanned section because that seems to be life, right? This should just be the life section, because overall, there are going to be some times that I need to contribute some money to other things and I need to make sure I'm documenting those along the way. All right, so then that is the budget. I am okay. I am under budget. I have money in my bills account. I was able to help out my family. I took care of everything that I needed to take care of, and I was able to roll money over and contribute it to my savings challenges and sinking funds for this next paycheck period. I am happy with the budget. And so I can't say anything else except it's all good. All right, that's it. Thanks everybody for your time. You guys have a good one.